I call Poto-Williams.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. What do victims need to obtain justice in the New Zealand police system? What do victims need? They need timeliness. They need compassion. They need to feel like they've been heard. They need not to be re-victimised. And once they have told their story to the police, that the police will take action on their behalf. Did the victims in this case receive justice? The police received reports of concern about 4 separate incidents involving the group between late 2011 and 2013 of the alleged sexual conduct. The police were aware of the group at least 2 years before the media attention broke. Later in November of 2013, the police and SIFS commissioned the joint investigation project Operation Clover. And the initial analysis of the various social media comments showed that there were at least 30 girls suspected to have been involved with this group, and 7 of them had made formal complaints. How is that timely? In December 2013, the IPCA was notified by police of the complaint made by a young woman regarding the police handling of sexual assault complaint that she'd already made to the police back in November of 2011. And the authority was already aware of the incident. Where was the compassion in that? In late October 2014, the police conducted Operation Clover. None of the police investigations resulted in criminal charges being laid by police against members of the group. Did they feel that they had been heard? The victims of this were children. They were children. Every time the media shows a story, replays any of the action, it's evident that the police were handling this badly. Does that mean that they were heard? Does that mean that the police took action as they were required? Some of the victims didn't feel comfortable with continuing with the investigation. Again, I reiterate, these were children and it was not a requirement of police to investigate. It was not a requirement. Why did they not actually adhere to police policy and investigate, even when the victims said they didn't want to continue? Because let's face it, when you are a victim of sexual abuse, it takes you a long time to have the courage to go to the police, and the expectation you have is that they will act and they will give you justice. I was involved in some research conducted in the family violence sector which showed categorically that up to 85% of victims of family violence are also victims of sexual violence. 85%. If we look at the numbers of victims of family violence in this country, it is an epidemic beyond proportion. If 85% of those victims have also been sexually violated, we have an epidemic on our hands. The Minister stood in this chamber tonight and challenged Jacinda Ardern's claim that the situation indicated a lack of police resource. Well, I say to you, Mr Speaker, that Jacinda was being generous, because if not for a lack of resource, then it is about attitude and culture. An attitude that sexual predation is okay, and an attitude that the police do not care, and a culture of indifference. And I, for one, will not stand for that. Thank you, Mr Speaker, and I wish to not have to speak on this ever again.
The Honourable Amy Adams.